after sitting through yesterday's sessions, it's kind of like, boy, these guys are hitting everything. Cameron had some great points. All the things when I talk to either consumers or my fellow peers, or what we need to do in the industry, especially in animal agriculture, and what he hit on. You had the bloggers yesterday, getting to see a pork operation. So many of those things is what, even though I'm dairy, it's still, once again, it's that overall transparency of all animal agriculture. So after seeing that yesterday, it's like, well, heck, you guys don't even need me because I think they hit everything. Well, we're going to try to hit a little bit different perspective and kind of show you what our opportunity was as far as a reality show. So when we started talking about this and people asked me to, tell about our experience, we said, well, we need to have the title, Change Perception. And I think a lot of people first think is, well, what's wrong? What do you mean, change perception? What are you trying to change, try to do differently? And it's been said time and time and time again here the last 2 days is, what does the consumer think about agriculture, farmers? What is their perception? What can we do to change that? And so it's really easy to kind of work off of that, but the first time you bring that up in an audience, they kind of give you that deer in the headlight look like, well, what are we doing wrong? Why do we need to change? And it's not what we need to change as far as what we're doing, it's just we need to change how we're getting the message out and take advantage of opportunities to talk to the consumers. I have a picture here. This is our dairy farm in Southern California, and it's kind of a giveaway. It was taken several years ago. We have snow in the mountains. We have green fields. Of course, we are truly in a drought right now. But this is kind of one of the picture settings that we have. Being in Southern California, we are a very large urban area. But when you can show this to show people that, yes, there is still agriculture in Southern California. The picture of my older brother there on the right, Bruce. He works on the farming side. I'm more on the dairy. I get to go to the meetings. And my father there on the left. And it is truly a family operation. And I think every time someone comes out for a dairy tour who is not involved in the industry, when you have the chance to talk to them about the family, the legacy, the history, another thing that consumers don't really realize is how many true family farms we have across the country. We talked about passion yesterday, and I talk about passion all the time. And, it really resonates when they can actually have that one-on-one with the individual. So my father there, being third generation, he just turned 77, so thankful for him. He's home now doing my work, hauling the milk, feeding the cows. Without him, I wouldn't be able to be here today. We're about an hour and a half to 2 hours east out of Los Angeles. So when you think about geographically where we are, you have to kind of take a step back sometimes and look about what's the rest of the population base. What do they know? What do they see? What is their perception once again? Southern California's population is a little over 38 million. That's kind of a total of Wisconsin, Illinois, and Iowa. If you take all three of those states together, that's the population of Southern California. So within 2 hours of me, that's the kind of population that I run into either at the store, the airport, people driving by my place, people seeing what we're doing. So there's really a lot of extra pressure when you think about it because of the fact we're not hidden out in the back 40s. We're really right there in the heart of things. So that's why it's, once again, so important to be telling our story, talking to our neighbors, letting them know what we do on the dairy farm and in agriculture. Besides having the actual dairy farm, we do have a creamery. That's been in the family for multiple generations. So that kind of sets us apart also because not only do we have the animals and we have the farming, but we can also show where the final product goes to the consumer. So we're able to kind of tie that whole message all together in there. I am fourth generation, and my great-grandfather came out from Waterloo, Iowa in 1913. He put 4 Guernsey cows, a few chickens, went in a rail car, and ended up in Southern California. So we were fortunate to celebrate our 100th year in business here 2 years ago. So with that, we're trying to, showcase that, farmers are family, we're multi-generations. So we now have some trucks that we take out when we go to fairs or car shows, once again, kind of trying to showcase the industry, that we're still active and starting in California, and we are sustainable what we're doing. This here hopefully is going to be the 5th generation. These are my 2 daughters. This is how we have quality time. We went swathing one night with the new tractor, so we went around field all night. But everyone says, are we going to change the name to Scott's Sisters? Time will tell. But they are both very passionate, just as myself and the rest of my family. My one daughter, when we travel, I got to worry about her because she's on the airplane. She'll find a stranger, starts telling them what she does on the dairy farm. Hey, she feeds calves, she has chickens or horses. And, once again, we kind of stand back and go, oh my gosh, don't talk to them, don't offend them. The people eat it up. They love hearing her story. They love to hear how passionate she is about being raised on the dairy farm. Talks about the multi-generational thing, what we do day in, day out. So once again, we can't be afraid to tell our story. We're hearing it so many times, passionate, transparency, all these things. Any and every opportunity is a great time to communicate the story. So these are my 2 little ambassadors are coming up, and I'm really proud because they're really taking that to heart. And I can put them out when we do dairy tours now, and they can actually kind of give a tour in front of me. So I don't have to worry about what they're saying or their messaging because they're just very open and people enjoy that and they're very transparent. We've always been talking about industry. There's always that wall, but we also have that bridge. And I think traditionally, we've always kind of said, hey, here's that wall. This is our operation, what we do behind our wall. Don't worry about it. Once again, the transparency issue comes out time and time and time again. So that's kind of the approach we've been kind of taking in our operation. I know, many of you all in the industry and agriculture are, seeing that we need to build those bridges, quit standing behind the walls, and take advantage of telling the stories that we have. Be transparent, be open, show the passion about what we really do, because we all are truly passionate people. Then you have the reality TV shows. How many people here have actually watched Undercover Boss? Almost pretty much everybody. So I think you guys didn't understand the concept about a CEO going undercover and then his operation and everything. So, you talk about those bridges and walls. Well, here's another opportunity of the idea of a reality show and being on your place or opening your doors. First thing that comes to mind is, whoa, let's not go there. But once again, trying to build those bridges, not hide behind the walls. Menchie's frozen yogurt. This is a frozen yogurt company that we manufacture their frozen yogurt mix. So that's the connection between Scott Brothers Dairy and a large frozen yogurt company. There you see Amit, the CEO, and he was the one that actually went undercover there on the Undercover Boss. And you guys are talking about tweeting and everything you're doing here, getting that message out. When this show went out, you can see some of the lines there and everything, and there was a lot of adrenaline within their operation, within the industry. How's this going to come out? Once again, as an unknown, but it was wait and see, and we all know we got a good story, so it has to come out great. Everybody asks me, well, how in the world did you agree to do this? Well, the first time I got the call from my plant in Chino, and my partner calls me and says, hey, I got this weird call. We get them all the time. Man, no big deal. So, then what's this time? What do you need? He goes, well, Menchie's frozen yogurt, and there's that TV show, Undercover Boss. Yeah. They want to go undercover with the CEO of Menchie's frozen yogurt, and they want to do it in the dairy farm. And everyone goes, well, what was your first thoughts? The first thought was, not only was it no, it was H-E double toothpick no. Why in the world would you let a reality show come on your dairy? My gosh, what a disaster, was the very first thing that hit my mind. But then you kind of sit there and going, okay, let's see here. Let's see, we go to leadership with Farm Bureau, National Dairy Board. We're talking about telling us we got to open our doors. We got to build those bridges. You know, you're sitting going, okay, we've had a lot of tours. I've done a lot of challenges. I've had the mommy bloggers, you know, kind of like what you guys heard yesterday from the pork industry. You know, that was the same thing. Oh my gosh, you can't have bloggers come on your dairy farm because they're going to write about you and say things. And, you know, the best thing about that was they actually got me a Twitter handle. And the first time on the bus, I'm sitting there and everybody's talking about hashtags. And I'm thinking, well, let's see, Southern California growing up, and you hear about hash, don't eat the brownies. So, you know, I'm like, what's this hash you guys are all talking about? You're mommy bloggers. I'm like, oh, that's his Twitter thing. So, you know, every time you do open your doors and you do go outside your comfort zone, it's amazing what you learn, the opportunities, and you know, it's just endless. But once again, you get the call, reality show, clunk, no way. I don't want to do that, but thank goodness we did. So that's how I was approached by it. Everyone says, well, how do you get everybody up to speed and this and that? And not a whole lot I could do because, one, undercover boss, nobody's supposed to know it's undercover boss. The way it worked out so well on my operation was I do a lot of media interviews. I do a lot of tours. Menchie did a YouTube video of me prior, just talking about dairy and generalization, you know, where milk comes from. So I was telling them, well, this time they're doing the same thing, but basically they want to talk to the employees. So that really was an easy segue for me, where normally have cameras around dairy isn't normal. All you think about is undercover videos, activists and things. The day of the filming, we have 5 different film crews run around the dairy. And if you want to ask me one of my most stressful moments in my life, the day of filming is probably in the top 3. Oh my gosh, you can't control this group, or one wants to go do B-roll. That's Hollywood. They always talk about B-roll. You know, you got a group of guys going this way, and you're like, oh my gosh, what are they doing over there? And I think that's where you really find out, you take a better look at your operation and your people. And as you'll see here, my herdsman, I'm so proud, because every time I go to a meeting such as this, and you come back and try to talk to your employees about the messaging, what you learned, what you expect them to talk about or do if they are ever interacting in those situations. And I had no control over this whole situation. I couldn't tell them what it was filmed for. I had to lie. People look at me like, Brad, you got cameras running all over the place. My husband's like, they're filming this, they're filming that. Well, it's okay, you know, you got nothing to hide. So the whole process of that day, and until it got aired, I say for several days there, I think I lost a little bit more hair, not that I have any more to lose, but it was extremely, what's going to be the outcome? Did I make a mistake? Should I not have agreed to do this? So there was a lot of things that, you know, led up to that. You know, I talked about all the filming and what, you know, took place. And I did not see this until I got invited to go down to Menchie's headquarters down there in Encino. And they had a copy of this about an hour before it got released on the East Coast time. So I was kind of worried too, like, oh boy, is there going to be something negative? Are we going to have a lot of social media feed? It's going to be, you know, coming back negative about something they saw, what happened on the dairy farm, what we do with our animals. With DMI, National Dairy Board, California Milk Advisory Board, everybody was aware this was going to be aired. So they were, you know, watching the social channels also to make sure if there's something that was being put out there that they could, you know, make sure the right message was out there. There was a few. Actually, a couple of the emails went to Menchie's. They forwarded them to me. Same thing from the extreme activist, that doesn't matter what you'd say, you're not going to change your minds. The interesting thing was our personal website and Menchie's had several different comments from people that were never involved in agriculture, had no background, but made the comment, how lucky you are to have such an extraordinary individual like Francisco, who is as passionate and as caring about his job and his animals. And that's what really blew me away. I expected the activists. We've been dealing with them forever. That goes the territory. But when people who had no connection took the time to send you a comment and saying, what an extraordinary individual. Look how passionate, how caring he is about the animals and his job. That just really blew me back. So, there's a lot of that came back after the fact, but I was pretty happy because having, normally when you have media interviews, everybody in the farm, you have a little more control in the situation, and, that was really good to see that. And, Mitch, if you guys get a chance on YouTube sometime, if you can watch the whole thing, you might, for those of you who haven't seen it, you can go to YouTube and watch Undercover Boss, Menchie's Frozen Yogurt. But Amit does not come from an ag background himself. He's actually a soldier in the Israeli army, and the reason he's not there was because he was on a bus that a suicide bomber hit. And that's why he's no longer in the army, and then he came here to California to start a business. So his story itself is very interesting. But at the same time, as you saw, Amit is a marketer. I heard it so many times yesterday. It's like, yeah, finally people are talking about it. You got that marketing in, you got the farm side, and there's that disconnect in between as far as connecting the farm product to the finished product, getting that whole cycle together. And he talked to me afterwards, and he said it right there. He told Francisco the most exciting time of him being undercover was the day he spent at our dairy farm. So that blew me away. Here he is, the CEO of that company. He decides about sales. He wants some more stores. I mean, heck, he even did the Menchie wiggle. I mean, that's dedication right there. But, to say that publicly, how many times the most exciting time was the day on the dairy farm really blew me away. So you can see little Alan, of course, hashtag little Alan, yes, is still there. He's now Big Alan. He looks at you and he knows he's special. Some people say, well, is that not normal? You tell them, yes, you're right. You tell them what would normally happen to a bull calf. Becomes a steer. It goes to feedlots. It goes to process. So you still tell them that that's not the norm. But at the same time, the whole idea of having an undercover boss on your dairy isn't something that happens every day either. So if we have one special calf, Alan, everybody loves to see Alan. But like I said, he puts his head up on the fence and looks at you and goes, yeah, I'm special. I know it. So it's always fun. People come. They always want to see the little Alan who's now Big Alan. But you can see he had his own hashtag. He had a lot of following there on that. Just like what you guys all do there. You talk about the relationships. We were providing a product for Menchie's Frozen Yogurt. I never had any contact with Amit or his company, except a few marketing people who came out and did some YouTube videos of the farm. I had more contact, built more relations after this aired. Now when they have a question about animal handling, GMOs, they call me first. Because everybody in their organization, their marketers are about sales. They're very tunnel vision because they just want to sell more product. And they don't understand what they're saying or trying to differentiate themselves. I did a YouTube video for them, and they tried to convince me to say that my cows, my dairy, me in Southern California was better than any other milk. And I would never do that. And they're kind of getting mad at me. The producer's like, no. We're talking about your cows because you're here in California and this and that. And it's like, no. I kept my same story. All cows, all dairymen, all milk is good. And once again, yesterday I saw that being picked up on. I was glad to see that because even though they're a customer of ours, I should do what they want. I was still trying to hold that line of saying, no, I'm not going to throw the rest of the industry, my fellow producer, under the bus for my own personal marketing. So it really has, made a lifelong relationship that now we can have that one-on-one. We have that connection. I was able to get them, to communicate more with our local Dairy Checkoff Milk Advisory Board, also with DMI, National Dairy Board. So if there is issues, problems, they know who to talk to, questions, instead of them just going out and trying to market things of what they think is taking place on the farm or things that they don't have a daily connection with. We've tied those pieces together. So that's probably one of those things that was really a benefit of having them on, was making those connections and getting everybody together so the right people were talking there. What's next? It's ironic, same thing, being close to Southern California, we get a lot of requests for different things. As I said, large population. Hollywood is an hour and a half away. I've done a lot of commercials there. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize it last night. Storage Wars, I did an episode for them, for those who've seen that on A&E a couple months ago. So that was aired last night. I missed it, but I'm getting the emails about they saw it. So the doctors we've had there for June is Dairy Month. So being close to LA and Hollywood, you get a lot more opportunities. Sometimes you're going, my gosh, leave me alone. But at the same time, it's really the process, meeting these people. And every time I have a film crew or anybody from Hollywood out, it's just like Menchie's. We had several people from Undercover Boss that came prior to the airing. And each person that came on the farm, we had to have the discussion. They were either in sound, they were in video, they were in production, whatever their place was. This is a dairy farm. We are the dairy farmers. We're fourth generation family. This is what we do for our animals. This is what milk is. This is truly what takes place. Because they weren't the ones on front of the cover, or they weren't on TV as a Mitt was, but all of those people are consumers. They all have friends and families. So when they all went back to Hollywood, and let me tell you folks, maybe it's stereotyping, just like people think I'm a surfer dude because I'm from Southern California. No, I don't surf, dude. But these Hollywood people, there's so many that come out for filming. They're a little different. You can spot them. They're different. But once again, you have that conversation. You're building that trust and those relationships we talk about. And by the time they leave, they all had that perception, well, we just thought this, or milk is full of all of pus and hormones, or we thought you abuse your we've all heard those stories out there. So once again, it's not just what the camera was showing that day, but all the other people you come in contact, and you're multiplying that message. You guys do Twitter, you're doing the social media, but you still cannot ever replace that one-on-one conversation with people. And the fact they had the opportunity to come on Dairy Farm is a little bit unique for being in Southern California. So what's next? Who knows? But the opportunities do keep coming. And every time is truly a learning experience. People ask me, well, I'm the media spokesperson for the industry for a lot of things and whatnot. And once again, that's not always a good place to be, because when crisis or issues that you don't want to talk about come up, they call you. But I got to just take a second. I know like yesterday on the bloggers, that was something that came from the pork industry. Well, I've been involved not only with Farm Bureau on a state level and national level, but also with DMI, the National Dairy Board. And for anybody in the dairy industry or dairy related, or anybody just wants to talk to them, I know we have one person here in the back. Scott, if you'd stand, raise your hand. Scott, is with DMI, but for years they've been trying to get producers trained to go out, tell their story, be media trained, open the doors, build the bridges, open your farms up. And it's not something that's very easy, I'll admit it, but the more you do it, the more exposure you get. Every time you learn something more, and the next opportunity that comes along, you don't look at it as, oh my gosh, what a pain in the neck. You look at it as truly an opportunity, because hopefully you're going to get the proper messaging out there once again, because we all know what we're hearing and seeing otherwise. So just have to thank, DMI, Menchie's. Like I said, now we have a better relationship. Also, of course, you got Francisco there. What you saw, that was not an act. If any of you rolled in my driveway today, what you saw is what you get out of Francisco. So I am very blessed to have him as an employee. Not only as an employee, he's actually a family friend now, him and his family. So, that even I can build things even more between relationships. So when I'm gone, I can come back here and talk to you guys. I know I got Francisco at home watching things. But at the same time, he handled a Mitt. I didn't coach him. He questioned me. Brad, they want to film this. Don't worry. I was worried about the cameras. I had no control over the final edit. But I was not worried about Francisco, because I knew that he knew what was right, even though I wasn't there coaching him. So that was, once again, a learning curve, getting out of your comfort zone, open the gates, here come the cows, So I really got to say a lot of thanks to Francisco, because he truly did make it there.